Hey there everyone, Ryan Schul here. Welcome to my channel. So in the project today, I want to analyze SEC 10K filings and 8K filings and extract corporate insights to look at things like risk factors and guidance changes. Okay, so this is all under the umbrella of finance. A 10K is basically an annual report that a public company has to file with the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the key features are basically it's filed annually within 60 to 90 days after the end of the fiscal year of the corporation, and it can be any month that the company ends its fiscal year. A lot of times it's December, but it doesn't have to be. It can be any month of the year. December is pretty common though. So the 10K provides a comprehensive overview of the company's financial health and the operations of the company, and it's audited financial statements too, right? So it's audited, it's checked by CPAs, both at the SEC and at the publicly held company that is submitting the 10K report. These are used for financial modeling, valuation, due diligence, M&A, so mergers and acquisitions, investing, credit analysis, management disclosure and analysis, so MD&A, benchmarking and risk assessment, and things like this. So the 8K is a little bit similar, but it's smaller, and it's basically filed within 4 days of a business announcing a major event that could have an impact on shareholders. So the key features are basically as needed. So there could be, there's no regular basis when this is done, but ad hoc basis, right? So if you need to file it, if there's a major event or change in a corporation or the structure of the corporation, and you file an 8K, the 10K has much more of a feel like it's filed on a certain calendar, based on a certain calendar event, right? When you close the books at the end of the year. So an 8K is filed as needed, covers material that could lead to the company's financial position or have an impact on the company's stock price. It's used for monitoring real-time developments for portfolio companies, right? Asset managers, investment managers, things like this. Trading and risk alerts and corporate governance tracking, okay? Things like this. So I have a lot of information in my notes. I'm not going to go through everything. You can read through it here in all my comments. But basically, like identifying and understanding risks that occur over time. I can clean this up a little bit. So that's why these documents are filed. Let me clean that up just a bit, and that too, okay, just to make it look a little bit more uniform. So anyways, it gives you a good general overview of what's happening with the company, the inner workings of the company, the operations, the financials, and things such as this. So I'm going to go ahead and automatically download the 10K and the 8K from SEC Edgar Downloader. I have SEC Downloader right here. I'm looking at my email address. All I have to do to pass in credentials is my email address and then SEC filings, and then tell them what filings I want. So for Apple, I want the 10K and the 8K. Very straightforward, very simple. There's really nothing left to question here, right? So no ambiguity, you know exactly what's happening. And it just goes to your default folder unless you pick another folder, right? So I have SEC filings, my default Python is installed here. C users Ryan underscore. I'm not sure why I have the underscore. I never really figured that out, but probably a typo at some point. Goes to SEC filings. Then when I get in here, I have Apple. That's obviously the company. That's the ticker symbol. And I have the 8K right here. And you can see I have a whole bunch of 8Ks. And I have actually 223. So Apple has been busy in the past couple of years. They have 223 filings. And for the 10K, I have quite a bit fewer, but I actually have about 29 here, okay? So you have some of the details about the filing, when it was filed, and some identifiers. So here's what this thing looks like. Okay, just a text file, and this could be anything. This could be text, it could be a Word document, a PDF file or something like that. So let me see if I can put that over here. Oh yeah, here it goes. So I put it on this screen so you can see it, and you have all the details of the company. And then this is the 10K. Wait, this is the 10 or the 8? This is a 10K, right? Yeah. So this is the annual form that's filed, and you'll have all the details of what's happened with this enterprise in the past 12 months, right? And again, the 8K is for big things that have happened in the company recently, major changes that could have an impact on the stock price, okay? So you don't have to wait an entire year to get the information. That's why they have the 10K. So it's more of an intermediate. This is more of a year-end review. So the point here is to automatically drill into these documents, and you can see there's like 229 and how many 10Ks? There's a lot here. Fewer 10Ks, but we still have 29. So my question to you is, do you want to read through 229 documents, or do you even want to read through 29 documents? As for me, not really. My time is very important. I want to know about the financial health of Apple. I want to understand this so I can make intelligent, informed investment decisions, right? That's important. But I don't want to read through 229 8Ks and 29 10Ks. That's a lot of reading, guys, and I just don't have time for that. But I still want to know what's going on, right? So I'm going to create a very basic tool here to summarize everything that's going on with these reports and then gain some more insight into what's happening with Apple. So I created a script here to extract sections. I am looking at parsing filings. This is standard encoding for a text file. If there's any errors, just ignore it. Go ahead, go into the text file and start reading. So I have a start risk and end risk. I'm just looking for risk within the file. And if there's no risk-related terms, then that's fine. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just looking for like red flags or something that could jump out or something that can cause me to pause and say, is this really an investment that I want to be engaged in? Do I really want to back Apple, or do I want to buy the stock? Yes or no, right? So that's why we're doing this type of analysis, just to get more insight into the enterprise and see what's going on there. So the way that we can do this is feed in chunks, or go ahead and fetch chunks of data. This is a little bit like what a human would do. You read these chunks at a time, 512 characters per chunk, and you ingest it and you absorb it, digest it with your eyes, with your brain, right? And understand what's going on here, right? So the computer is going to do essentially the same thing. We're using a sentiment analyzer, and we are looking for sentiment analysis. That's the name of the pipeline. We're creating an analyzer. So I have an OpenAI key here. I'm going to hit Control Enter to kick off the process, and you can go ahead and get your own key. I thought that I put that down here. I didn't. So let me add this in right now. This is helpful to have this, right? So this is ChatGPT.google.com. Here's ChatGPT. And basically, we're taking the API key, API, taking the ChatGPT API, and using that to interact with ChatGPT and extract information from ChatGPT. So I guarantee the tool has already logged in. That's weird. Why would they have to log in? I was already logged in today. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll log in again. Thought they had me, but I guess not. So yeah, so you log into the account. Oh, now it wants to send me a code. That's fine. That's fine. Let me get the code here. It's weird, guys, because I was already logged in. This computer is like doing weird stuff, things that you wouldn't expect it to do, because I'm telling you, man, I get some weird stuff here. If you're logged in and you don't log out, then by definition, you're logged in. So anyways, let's get past this hurdle. There's always an issue with all these things. I mean, I don't know why things can't just work. It just can't work. But anyways, okay. So let me get the code, log in. And this thing is slow too. I just need to make a new resolution. Learn how to edit. I don't know how to edit, guys. That's why we get these long videos. If I could just do it. You have like a 5-minute video. This is going to be a short. It's going to be a 90-second thing. Just to refresh, Gmail now apparently takes a couple of minutes. Oh, and none of this shouldn't even be happening. That's the hilarious thing. That's the funniest thing of all. Okay. So anyways, you see how my day goes every single day. So anyways, some big secret or something. Like, some of these security things are just beyond insane. Okay, just to get an API key. And here's my keys. And I just did all that just so I could share this link with you. So believe it or not, I had to go through all that. Now, I'm supposed to switch back, and you can't do that. Okay, so takeaway here, guys, seriously, data science is very easy. Just getting the computer to work is 95% of data science. Like this thing just doesn't do what you tell it to do. It just spins and spins and spins all the time. This is hilarious. This is actually very funny. All I want to do is get a link. That's like literally it. That's the only objective I have right now is to get a link, and I can't do it. I don't know who designs this stuff, man. I'd like to meet the people. So we were talking about 10Ks and 8Ks. Now we're talking about links, and like it still doesn't even do anything. It's hilarious. Most of my day is just this, just watching things spin, right? The analysis is like 10% of my time, 90% is just nonsense, right? This 10% analysis, not 90% nonsense. This is kind of stupid though. Like seriously, this is kind of like really. But you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait. Like literally, this is a 1 second task. If you're telling me it's gonna take 5 to 15 minutes or whatever, like I'll just wait. I don't care. I'll just wait. So seriously, guys, don't copy links or whatever because your computer's gonna blow up. Okay, all that just so I could do this. Can you believe that? Does that make any sense? Make any sense whatsoever? None. Zero. So we got the Chat GPT API key. That's the link that you can go to get your own. Again, it's not free, it costs a little money, but totally worth it. So when you go ahead and get your key, you can put it into a secure location, or you can load it directly in your browser, right? So this is a Jupyter Notebook. I'm sure you guys know that. I do all my demos using Jupyter Notebook. So if all you want to do is just use this privately by yourself, or maybe your team maybe has a group API key or something like that, that's fine. You can share it amongst yourself, but you don't want to disclose this information. It's personal and confidential. So either put it into a text file and then reference the text file and pull it out of the text file with no quotes, okay? If you put it into the browser window, it's not very secure. It's fully exposed to anybody that you share the code with. But if you put it in the browser window, you do need a quote at the beginning and at the end of the browser key. So what kind of like this, like whatever API key, it's gonna have the quotes around it. When you put it into the text file, you have no quotes around it. Okay, it's just pure key because the machine doesn't know how to parse out the quotes, or you have to write extra code and just say, okay, this is how you handle the quote. Delete the beginning quote, delete the ending quote. Don't even get into it. Just put the key. That's it. So I'm going to go ahead and open that, and it's saved on my desktop right here. You can save it in the network drive on your local computer any way you want. But this is just a more secure option. And then, of course, you can encrypt the key too. So as you pull it, it's encrypted or decrypted, right? It can be encrypted on the source. So if other people pull it, they can't decrypt it. There's a bunch of different ways to handle this. I think this is sufficient here. Keep it on the text file on my desktop, and I can reference it as needed. So I'm going to go ahead and open this API key. When I put it into ChatGPT, it recognizes the key and says, okay, you're authorized to interact with this model. So right now I'm using model ChatGPT 4.0. I can see this is still running in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some pricing information because I don't think I put that in the bottom here. I like to share the details with you guys so you know what you're getting yourself into. Right? I don't think I have that. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so let me add that into the bottom here. That's good to have. www chat. And we have GPT pricing. Put this into most of my Jupyter notebooks, but not all. I missed this one, so let me add it right here. This is pretty helpful, actually. Oh, that's not really what I was looking for. Pricing. It's more like the tokens that are passed into it, and based on the model that you use, 3.5 or 4.0, there's different pricing tiers. Oh yeah, this is pretty good actually. Oh man, there's so many now. They keep changes all the time. Uh, maybe I'll just put a reference because this is getting big now. I used to copy and paste it, but this is probably better just to put a reference to that. Uh, pricing. Called pricing, or do they have a specific name for this? They just call it pricing, right? So pricing is pricing, latest models. So this is how it works. Basically, a 4.1, 4.1 mini, 4.0 or 4.0, maybe that's a small o, I'm not even sure. So you have these different models. Some are better than others. The more expensive ones are going to produce better results. So more polished, more professional, more refined types of results. Some are a little bit more primitive. Those are cheaper to use and they run a lot faster too. Okay, so you're getting just a deeper level of research, a deeper level of analysis if you go with the 4.0 models or the newer ones, which is they're up to I think 4.5 now. I see 4.5 preview. So this one you can see is obviously pretty expensive, $75. The input over here for 4.1 is 2, 4.1 mini is only 40 cents. So this model I can assume is going to deliver some amazing performance, right? If they're charging $75 for a bunch of tokens, and usually they use like I think 1,000 batches of 1,000 tokens or something like that, and they take all the characters that you reference and convert that or divide that by 1,000. I think that's how they do it. So if you look over here, we have the where was it? I was just looking at that. Give me a second here. The chunk. Oh, here, the chunk. So they have chunks of 512 characters at a time, and I think they divide that by 1,000 or something. So you can make that many. Each chunk is divided by 1,000. You can make that many requests before you hit one. What do they call it? One token or something like that, right? So it's actually pretty cheap to use these types of things, but it's not totally free. That's my point. So you do have to pay a little bit. But you get what you pay for. You pay a few pennies and you get some pretty amazing results. So the whole point is I'm using ChatGPT. The open API key comes from here. I referenced that. I showed you how that works. You have a triple quote opening, triple quote ending, okay? So we're saying we're doing the SEC filing. We're summarizing the results of the section name. The section name is a parameter that we're passing in. If I go look for this, for section name in sections. So we're looking for a lot of sections in the 8K and in the 10K, in both of those. And we're looking through these SEC filings to find 3 to 5 major bullet points. So I'm telling ChatGPT, hey, take a look at these 10K items, take a look at these 8K items, and you tell me how to summarize this. Tell me what I need to know, right? So I don't want to read through, I think it's 29 10Ks and 229 8Ks. I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the manpower, I don't have the not passion, I don't have the pension, passion, what is it? Perseverance, patience. I don't have the patience to read through 229 AKs. I can't do it, guys. I'm sorry, I can't do it. But I want ChatGPT to read through that for me. So I'm going to take these 10Ks, I'm going to take these AKs, feed it into the tool or feed it into the model. I'm using 4.0. So 4.0 is one of the better models. You pay a little bit more, but you get a lot more performance from that. You can use 3.5 turbo. This is faster and cheaper. But again, the response that you get back is not as refined and not as sophisticated as what you get with the 4.0. So I think the 4.0 is a nice balance. Go ahead and send in all the data from the 10Ks, all the data from the 8Ks, and summarize everything. Putting this into essentially a big digital blender, and then you tell me what I need to know. Okay, so this is very open-ended, almost like unsupervised learning, like clustering a little bit. It's not clustering per se, right? But unsupervised like that. Like I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you a basic guideline. Here's the guideline. Here's the prompt. SEC filing. Look at all the sections. And you tell me what are the main bullet points I need to know. So I'm using this model, ChatGPT framework, right? This would be an alternative. And they have, I think, a 4.5 model. Again, a little bit more expensive, but the output is a little bit more sophisticated too, more refined. So we're taking all these chunks of data, feeding it into ChatGPT, maximum tokens, truncating at 300, right? So this is going to help me curtail my my bill for one thing, and the amount of data that I feed into ChatGPT, and the amount of time it takes to process the data and spit out a response, right? So if you take more computational power and more time, you can get a better response, more sophisticated, more refined response. But how much more power are you going to put into it, and how much better is the output going to be? That's what you really have to determine. I think 300 tokens is totally fine in this case, and in most cases. If you need more tokens, you can pass in more tokens. It's going to collect more information and give you a better answer. If you think 300 is fine, and in most cases I think 300 is totally fine, then just stick with that. Your response is going to come back faster, and it's going to be sufficient for most use cases. So I would say stick with that. So again, just giving ChatGPT the guidance here. Again, very simple, very straightforward. Triple quote to open. Okay, this is the prompt, SEC filings, so on and so forth, section name, and triple quote to end. Now we're going to get a response, and it's going to come back with the filing, the risk summary, risk sentiment, and guidance summary. So I'm looking for these 4 things from the model, from the GPT-4 model. I need these 4 things. That's what I'm using as a guideline, right? So taking a little bit longer than I thought, but that's okay. Let me just jump down to the next step. We can switch back here and see what it's doing later. So everything is going to go into a results list. I can tell this is a list because it has square brackets. So if I look for results, Control F down here, everything gets appended into that, right? So you saw the structure over here. We have file, risk summary, risk sentiment, guidance summary. Same thing down here, file, risk summary, sentiment, and guidance, right? So same thing, I'm appending everything into this list, then taking the list and converting that into a data frame. So the final output looks like this, guys. This is what we get at the end. Let me slide this to the left a little bit. And it's kind of a lot of stuff here, but actually it's taking tons and tons and tons of stuff and summarizing this to make it very user-friendly for us, and eliminating a lot of the byproduct, a lot of time waste, a lot of time suck, and just delivering the most relevant, most important information. So here's the file itself, okay? And if you look closely, you can see the structure of this. It goes to users, Ryan_SEC filings, Apple, right? This is what I showed you before. If we go back here, this is exactly the structure that we're looking at here. If I go down a little bit, you should see that. So it goes to C, users, Ryan_SEC filings, filing Apple 10K. Now, once we get into here, I want to go into both the 10K and the 8K. That's why I'm using the asterisk over here. So an asterisk is a wildcard. I'm saying go into this file structure right here. Okay, starting here. Then I don't care what the file name is. Is it 10K or 8K? I don't care what that is. And I don't care all the file names underneath that. I'm looking for full submission text, right? So when we use these 2 wildcards, we can basically loop through all the files in that file structure and extract all the information from all these files comprehensively, bind it all together, and then send the entire corpus, it's called a corpus of text or body of text, to ChatGPT for the analysis. So again, if you look carefully, we go to Apple, then we have 2 asterisks, right? The first one goes into the 10K and 8K, right? So it makes that determination. And the second asterisk, you can see, goes into all of these subfolders. So it's actually pretty cool here. It goes into every single subfolder and then looks for this text called full submission, okay? Full submission, not text. So that's why I have 2 asterisks here. So the first time I saw this was like back in 2019 or something like that. I think it was 2019. And that was a little bit confused. I'm like, why do we have asterisks? Like, what is it doing? Again, so wildcard, it goes into every subfolder that you tell it to, queries all the text from this text file in these subfolders. It doesn't matter what the name of the subfolder was, okay? So I hope you appreciate how smart this is. If you didn't have this wildcard character feature, you would literally have to type out every single folder name over here. And why can I not click on the folder? It's like another bizarre thing. I don't get this. Like, computer used to work fine, now it's just random, I guess. You would have to type out every single name. So that name, that name, that name, that name. There's 29 here. So good luck with that, okay? Wouldn't want to be the person undertaking that task. But you have to drill into every folder and copy the folder name for the 10Ks, right? Let's go up 1 level. And then you probably know what I'm going to say next, right? You'd have to do the same thing for the 8K 229 times, guys, okay? And you have to scan through every single folder. And if you made one single spelling mistake, it's going to throw an error and it's not going to work. So this is actually very brilliant the way that this is set up and executed. So you can drill through every single folder structure underneath this main parent folder, right? Apple, SEC, Apple, the Edgar filings, and then look for this file name in all those subfolders. That is intelligent, guys, because I'll tell you, I don't want to be sitting there typing out 229 folder names and then you have to loop through every single one of them. That would take like, I don't even know, maybe just reading the full submission text would be faster than getting the computer to log into every single one and then read it that way. I don't even know which one would be faster, but you can see the time savings here, right? So I hope you appreciate that. I want to show you that. So here's the outcome here. We have the file name, we have the risk summary. This document does not contain any valid risk section, and that's fine. Sometimes it has some, sometimes it doesn't. The label here is neutral, so we're doing a sentiment analysis. I have this in some of my videos. Neutral is like not positive or negative. Positive is positive, negative is negative, right? So we're 90% confident that this is neutral. And here's the guidance summary. This is why it's neutral. So I always like to know what's happening and then why it's happening. So this is the why. Tell me why this is neutral, right? Okay, the company has made forward-looking statements per their Private Securities Legislation Reform Act. So kind of neutral, right? Like nothing is really jumping off the page at me now. So here's the next file here. Company's financial performance may not be a reliable indicator of future performance. Okay. That's a little bit more colorful than what we got over here. So a little bit negative tone, I feel like. And let's just look at the scores. So 85% neutral, negative score 96%. So now 96% and negative score 65%. So this percentage means that's that probability that the negative score is correct, right? So it's hard to say, is this 100% correct or 0% correct? It's probably somewhere in between those, right? It could be either one. 0% is 0, right? 100 is guaranteed, but probably it's going to be 1% within that 0 to 1 binary outcome. So here's negative 90% confidence. This is a confidence interval. That's all it is. So 50% confidence, 91% confidence, positive score, 52%, right? So we're getting a mix, positives and negatives. So this filing, the full submission from 12, what is this? I don't even know what this code means. This code, I think, has something to do with the filing associated with Apple. I think they have like an ID that they have to log in to do the submission. And there's some details here, but it doesn't even look like a date. So I'm not sure what that represents. It's some kind of code. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. I'm not sure. But anyways, you see more color around this. You can see positive, neutral, negative comments. And then here is a probability or the what is it called? Probability of that label, right? The positive, neutral, or negative. And then we have the why. This is why this is happening over here. The company recognized revenue from software sales. So it's looking at this right here, right? And assigning the probability label, positive, neutral, negative, and then the degree of probability, right? Or the probability of certainty that is neutral, right? And then this is why. So based on that, so we have 2, 3, and 4. It's always 0 based. So we start with 0. We're looking at the first 5 documents. So this is pretty plain over here. Nothing really going on. Nothing here. And you can see label is neutral, 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 and there's really nothing. So a lot of the context comes from this filing right here. So that is something that I would probably drill into and look at a little bit more. These 3 are stale. This one over here is pretty stale. Nothing going on there, right? So I'd want to find out where this is coming from. If this is 10K, so I know that ends in 125-12. Let me take a quick peek at that one. Go up 1 level. What did he say? 125-12. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. 10Ks is few of them, so we should be able to find this pretty easy. -12. Here it is. So that, just in a few seconds here, that draws my attention to this full submission to make a really informed decision about whether or not Apple is a company that I need to be investing in. either as a small investor or as a portfolio manager, asset manager, or something like that, this is the filing that I would be looking at because it has a lot more information than those other 3 filings had. And this is a little bit hard to read. This looks like a kind of like an HTML format, I think. So it works okay in this text file. And you have some language here. You can already tell this is a little bit hard to read. So you'd probably want to take some kind of converter and make that into more like standard English or something like that. Just because of the styling and the things like this font styling over here. So I would want to convert this HTML more into like a normal standard English base. So that's it. So those are the first 5 filings. Now we have another 5 down here. Remember, I looked at the head and the tail. That's what I'm looking at here. So we had the first 5 summarizations that I got over here. And then we have the last 5. So this is pretty bare bones. There's not a whole lot going on here. This one, again, is pretty interesting. So I would jump into that a little bit more. And then we have these 3 kind of like plain bagels over here, right? So this is kind of like more the interesting one to look at. And that might actually, 068, was that the first one that you looked at? Yeah, it was. Okay, so we picked this up twice, but that's fine. We know which one that we need to focus on now, and it saves us a ton of time scanning through all these 10Ks and 8Ks to make intelligent, formed investment decisions, right? So that's how we can extract corporate insights and risk factors and even guidance changes from these documents that are submitted with the SEC, either annually, that's a 10K, or if there's a major change in the corporation, that's an 8K. So now this kind of tool can go ahead and scan through it quickly and easily, and then we can draw, this will help us to draw our attention to the file that is the most relevant and most important here. Definitely this one ends in 068, and this is the name of the file, right? The full submission text. These others are just standard normal things, right? There's nothing really to dig into over here. So that was it. I have a couple more things down here in my notes. SEC filing parser for 10Ks and 8Ks. I just took you through it. Risk and guidance extractor with smart fallback handling. FinBERT sentiment analyzer. That's how we get the positive, neutral, and negative sentiment analysis, right? So that comes out into actually this row right here. If there's any risk in that document, that is highlighted over here. And then this is the why for this sentiment analyzer over here. So you get the full description. If it just comes back with neutral score, 90% confidence, that's fine. But like, where is it coming from? What's driving that? Why is it happening? This is the why. So I always like to ask why things are happening. And this is full disclosure here. This is why it's happening. So ChatGPT Summarizer is helping us make clean, smart professional summaries. And the data frame output is the last thing you see right here, right? We convert everything into a list. We append the items from those 10Ks and 8Ks into a list, and then convert the list into a data frame. That's what you see right here, okay? So that's it, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up right here. That's a lot of information in 30 minutes. I have one more that's kind of similar to this. I'm going to put out both videos pretty much in parallel at the same time, I guess. And that is going to go a little bit more into these 10Ks and 8Ks. I think this is an interesting topic. And one of the most interesting things is how you can automate the entire process of this and take something that's very onerous, very complex, very, very, very time consuming. Really, you need like a team of highly trained professional analysts to scan through this, right? If you don't have this kind of tool. But with ChatGPT Summarizer and a tool like this that can scan through all these documents very quickly and very easily, and then give you a summary description, that is a huge time saver, huge win for you, and you get accurate results quickly and easily, right? So win, win, win. This is all win. So I gave you the information to the ChatGPT key. You can go ahead and sign up for that, and you have the pricing for ChatGPT. Very, very, very affordable. I would highly recommend you get that. Not totally free, but again, you get what you pay for, guys. Absolutely. You pay a couple of bucks. I think I've been using this for like 12, no, not 12 months, like 6 months, give or take, about 6 months. And I think I've spent like $20 for everything in 6 months. So really, it's a bargain, right? You can spend $20 on a couple of lattes at Starbucks, right? Or get ChatGPT for 6 months. So that's it. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Hopefully this was enlightening and informative. I try to share my knowledge, drop knowledge on you guys whenever I have a chance to do that. And I will share all my code with you, so you have all the code for the entire notebook. I'm going to save this right now, and I will share the output with you when I drop the video a little bit later today, and I will see you guys sometime soon when I do the next video. Okay, take care for now, and talk to you soon.